Take the rolling.
Hello, and welcome to Straight Talk with Susan. I'm Councilwoman Susan Siegel, and this is a program about what's happening in Yorktown with an emphasis on the town board activities. Before I start, just two quick announcements. One, I'd like to give you my contact information if you'd like to get in touch with me about anything we talk about on today's program, or if you have any questions or concerns about the town, I encourage you to share them with me. My phone number is 914-962-5722, extension 421, and you can reach me by email at susan@yorktownny.org. I'd also like to remind you about the upcoming election, November 3rd. It's a very important election because this year you'll be voting for your town offices for a majority of the town board, a supervisor, 2 councilmen, a town clerk, town justice. There's also an election for 2 county legislators, but neither one is contested. And then there'll be some judicial elections. If you think you might be out of town on election day, November 3rd, or if for some physical or other reason you think you might have difficulty getting to the polls, there is still time to apply for an absentee ballot. Voting absentee is a 2-step process. First, you have to submit an application to the Board of Elections, and then once that's done, then they will send you the ballot. And you can get that in, actually it can get mailed in after November 3rd. But the deadline for submitting the application is October 29th. You can get an application from the town clerk's office at Town Hall, or you can download one from the Westchester Board of Elections website, westchestergov.com, and then just follow the links to the Board of Elections. Today, I'm going to be talking about just one topic, the very controversial highway garage project, also known as the Yorktown Heights Downtown Revitalization Project. Normally, as you know if you've watched this program before, I have a guest. Unfortunately, the guest was not able to make it at the last minute, so I'm going to be doing this program solo. When I have a guest, we have a dialogue, we go back and forth, questions, answers, comments, whatever, and I don't use any notes. Today, because I'll be the only one talking, and there are some key points that I want to make, you will see me referring to my notes. Okay? And I do need some glasses to help me out. Okay, the Highway Garage project is one of the biggest capital projects the town has undertaken. We're talking about a $4.8 million project. And it's also been controversial. It has divided the town board, which has voted 3-2 to proceed with it. Supervisor Grace, Councilman Bernard, and Diana have voted twice to proceed with the project. Councilman Patel and I have voted against it. We are not against the project per se or the concept. We just have specific concerns about it, especially if this is the right time to proceed with the project. We have concerns about the cost of the project and concerns about the whole process of how it's being moved ahead. Okay. There's a lot of confusion about this project, confusion over what's actually going to be built and what the cost is. And a part of the confusion is because there hasn't been a single community-wide meeting to discuss the project where presentations can be made by both sides. So far, we've only had a presentation basically by the supervisor. Okay? And it's been at meetings where the public could not ask questions other than a 3-minute courtesy of the floor comment, which really would be insufficient. There have been no public hearings on it. And again, I say no community-wide meetings that have been widely advertised and promoted, and that would encourage residents to come forward and ask questions. There's also been a lot of conflicting information about it, as I'll go on to discuss. Let me just begin by briefly discussing the project if you're not already familiar with it. Okay, this is Supervisor Grace's idea. It's his vision. He feels that the Heights area needs to be revitalized, and in order to do that, the town has to basically get rid of what he calls an ugly building, the current highway garage. If you're not familiar, the highway garage is at the intersection of Underhill Avenue and Front Street. If you've ever gone to Yorktown Auto Body, hopefully you didn't need the services of that very good company, or you've gone down to UPS or used the car wash, you'll notice that the highway garage is the kind of beige brick building just at the intersection, and there are some plows in front of the building and a little grassed area. That's the parcel that we're talking about. And the supervisor feels that this has to be done in order to revitalize it. The question is there a need to revitalize this corner of Yorktown, or is it his desire? Okay. As part of the plan, after the highway garage is relocated to what we call the Hill, it's off Greenwood Street near the sewage treatment plant. That's where many homeowners bring their leaves, their twigs for organic recycling. Then a new commercial building will be built on the site once the old garage is taken down. There will be, according to the supervisor's vision, a new town square. There'll be links to Railroad Station Park and Patriot Garden Park. And if you don't know where Patriot Garden Park is, it's roughly behind the skateboard park. And if you don't know where the skateboard park is, it's to the left, maybe the east of Meadows Farm stand. Okay. The project is estimated at $4.8 million, and according to the supervisor, there will be either no cost to the taxpayers or a modest cost to taxpayers, or sometimes he comes out with some number as to what it will cost. And this, again, is part of the confusion, and I'll be addressing this in a little while. Of the $4.8 million, $4.1 million is to build the new garage, and $700,000 would be to demolish the existing garage and prepare the site for this anticipated new commercial building, and also build some of these public amenities and open space. When I say new highway garage, and just as a shorthand way of talking about it, we call it the highway garage. But the plan that the supervisor has could be a 60,000 square foot building that would house both the highway department garage and the existing parks department garage that's in Downing Park. 60,000 in one building. But it could also be 40,000 for the highway and a separate 20,000 for the parks department, or it could also be possibly only 27,000 square feet if the town feels it has to reduce the overall cost of the project. 27,000 square feet is basically the combined size of the current highway and parks department garages. So we really don't have any fixed plan as to exactly what we'll be building there. And as I said, it's for shorthand, we just call it the highway garage project. Okay. And I've said where it would be. There are several issues that are of concern to thousands of people in the community, and also, as I said, to Councilman Patel and myself. And here are some of the concerns, and as we go through this program, I'll be talking about them. The overall cost of the project, including the cost to the taxpayers, the speculative nature of the project, the question of priorities, how the town should be spending its money, the location of the project, exactly what the new building will be look like. If the parks garage is moved, what will the impact be on Downing Park? The savings that this project potentially will generate, and then also I'll be making some few general comments about the whole concept of what does revitalization mean within the context of the Heights area. Cost. by far, that's the most important concern that I think everybody has. And as I said before, there have been lots of numbers bandied about. The $4.8 million figure comes from the town's grant application to the state. In the application, the town states that out of the $4.8 million project cost, they're hoping to get $2.1 million in a combination of 4 different state grants. That leaves, again, according to the town's own documents, $2.7 million that will be the local share. That's a combination of the match for some of the grants plus the additional funds that the town will have to lay out. Okay. Then the application says, after the new garage is built, and after is a key word, after the new garage is built, the old one demolished, then the town will market the vacated site to a private developer. And the grant application assumes that the property will be worth $1.5 million. Now, it's very simple arithmetic. If you take the $2.7 million local share and you subtract the $1.5 million that you might get from the proceeds of the sale, you're still left with $1.2 million as potentially what the cost could be for the taxpayers. Again, all of this is just numbers without any firm plans. Okay? But there is a gap in just the basic numbers. And remember, the garage won't be, the vacated site will not be sold until after the new one is built. Okay? It's also not clear where the $4.8 million project cost has arrived at and what it includes or it doesn't include. For example, the supervisor has said that one of the benefits of having the new facility, the new garage, will be the addition of a wash facility. It's very important that we wash our trucks because it prolongs their life. That's common sense, and I certainly agree with that. But these trucks, especially the highway department trucks, will have salt, which we use in the wintertime for the roads. This, up at the hill, we're in the Croton watershed, so this is a very environmentally sensitive site because it would drain down right into the streams that feed into the Croton Reservoir. So the wash facility, which is going to be washing salt off these trucks, plus grease and oil and all kinds of lubricants, will need an extensive filtration system to prevent it from entering into the water system. And I don't know, the question has never been raised, whether that project cost at $4.1 million includes the cost of the wash facility and all the stormwater protections that will be required to meet both New York State DEC and New York City DEP environmental requirements. So basically, all of this cost information leads to 2 questions. The town will have to lay out, again by its own grant application, $2.7 million, assuming we get the $2.1 million from the state grants, $2.7 million of local share. Where will that come from? Will it come from fund balance, or will the town have to borrow money for it? If we borrow money, then we're going to have to pay interest on the borrowing. Is there an estimate for that? And remember, interest payments are an expense in the town budget, so what impact will that have on our total town budget, especially when we're under the constraints of the tax cap? Nobody has said where this $2.7 million is going to come from. Then you have the speculation issue. What if the site doesn't sell for $1.5 million? What if it doesn't sell at all? What if it sells for less? Yes, it might sell for more. The supervisor sometimes talks about it could sell for up to $3 million. But that's speculation. And the question is, should the town be speculating with your taxpayer dollars? Okay? I don't think so. There's enough of a gamble for private developers in terms of the economy and where the economy is going. And I don't think the town is in a position to gamble that there will be a demand for this building, okay? That there will be tenants for the building, and that we should lay out taxpayer money because we are absolutely certain we're going to get back all of that money plus more. There's an old adage, I think it came from a movie, okay? Build it and they will come. Well, I don't think the town should take that risk, and the town should not gamble on a speculative real estate project. If a private developer wants to do it with his own money or with his investors' money, that's fine. But as your elected official, I'm not going to do it with your money. Now, the supervisor has said, and he said it as recently as a press conference this morning that I attended, that there's a lot of interest in the site from the developers. But nobody has come forward, at least not publicly. If there's a genuine interest in the project, I think the town should have gone about this whole plan a little differently. And it's called a request for proposals. Basically, what the town does is says, okay, we want to relocate the highway garage. We want to make this site available, sell it to a commercial developer, put it back on the tax rolls, get some nice ratables. All very good, positive ideas. So what the town should do is say, we want to establish guidelines in this request for proposals, or it's called an RFP process. We say we want a minimum and a maximum size for the building. We want certain public amenities. We want to see your architectural drawings about what you're proposing to build. And most importantly, we want to see how much you're willing to pay the town to buy this parcel. Then the town gets these different proposals. It selects which one it wants best. And then we would have a firm commitment from developer X that he or she is going to pay a set amount of money for this site once it's vacated, and then the town could go ahead and plan to build the new highway garage, knowing that with the combination of state grants, any amount of town funds that it has to lay out, plus the commitment from a private developer that the site would sell. But that's not what we're doing. We're kind of doing it backwards, and I'll go into more of that later. One of the other concerns that both Councilman Patel and I have is a question of priorities. Okay? If some tax dollars are going to be spent on this project, the question is, what's needed more? Do we need a new highway garage, especially when the supervisor and the highway superintendent have said publicly that the current garage is quite adequate for our needs? Okay? Or do we have other town needs that are maybe of a higher priority? Roads. We all know that our roads are a disaster, and there's just so much money that the town can put into its annual budget for all the paving that we need to be done. We have bridges that are crumbling. Okay, we have 3 emergency bridge collapses in 1 year. Okay? And when we do it on an emergency basis, remember, we don't do competitive bidding. So we're probably spending more money than we would have if we had planned this out. The town, so many neighborhoods have drainage problems that are causing flooding when we have heavy rains. We're not spending anywhere near the amount of money that we need to spend on that. And then, of course, there are town buildings. If any of you have been in the town boardroom recently, looked up at the ceiling, you'll see the leaks. It's been there for over 3 years. All of this town infrastructure needs our attention, and all of it requires money. And because of the tax cap, we are very limited in how we spend our money. So we have to carefully look at and assign priorities to what we want to do. You can think of it this way. In your house, and as homeowners, we all face this problem. Your roof is leaking. The roofer has said, sorry, Mrs. Smith, you absolutely need a new roof. There's no more patching that can be done. But you kind of had hoped that you could redo your kitchen this year and put in those new granite countertops and brand new cabinets. You only have a certain amount of money to spend. So what comes first? Do you fix your leaking roof, or do you put in your new kitchen? That's the same issue the town has to decide. Another issue, which is of concern for many people, is the location of the highway garage. And here, remember, the supervisor has said the rationale for this project is to revitalize the downtown. And he says, and here I'm going to point to a map, he's saying that the highway garage is located in the center of town. Now, I apologize for the poor image on this map, but on a short notice, this is all I had. This is a map of the Heights area. Let me orient you. This is Route 118. Here's 202 coming into Commerce Street, Commerce Street moves down, this is Railroad Park, and Underhill Avenue. This is Town Hall. Here's Yorktown Green. Here's Turco's. Here's the Triangle Shopping Center, the YCC. This orange line, by the way, is the North County Trail, because this is a map that was developed by the Yorktown Trail Town Committee. Where is the highway garage? Is it in the center? This would be the center of the Heights area. No, this is where the highway garage is located. It is on the fringe of the downtown Heights area. And in fact, it's the gateway to the town's industrial zone, which is Front Street. If this is where this new commercial building is going to be, this new center, it's across the street from Yorktown Auto Body. The town's garbage contractor parks his garbage trucks right down here. And if you go further down Front Street, you've got the school buses, and then you've got UPS. So you can imagine the amount of traffic that comes up and down this street, not just cars, but tow trucks, buses, UPS trucks, and I believe UPS works 24/7. So this is not the center of Yorktown, and it can never be the center of a new downtown Yorktown, because this, which is all developed, okay, this is the center of the Yorktown Heights area. Yes, this building can and should be sometime in the future redeveloped. The garage should be relocated off there by the sewage treatment plant. But right now, the issue is, will this lead to the revitalization of Yorktown Heights? And I think many people really question that. It's not the center of town. Another issue, exactly what is going to be built on that site once the new highway garage is built. The fact is there's no real plan for what will replace the highway garage. What we have are two very different concepts or architectural renderings. Okay? One is a small 2-story brick building, okay, with roughly 16,000 square feet. My guess is that that photo of that building was just taken out of a stock photo and plopped onto the map. Then you have a second rendering. This is very different. This large white building, roughly about 27,000 square feet. The larger the building, the more parking required, the less open space. And yet the plan is being promoted as creating all of this wonderful public space. In fact, the grant application, shows the picture of the smaller building, but talks about the size of the larger building. It's a total inconsistency. We also don't know what this new building will be. There's inconsistencies within the grant application. It's been described as all commercial or a mix of commercial and residential with apartments on the 3rd floor. Commercial, is that going to be all office or a combination of office and retail? That leads to the next question. Does Yorktown Heights really need more commercial space? We have so much vacant space already, from the food emporium to the beer and soda place. Some of our office buildings have for rent signs outside. Somebody did a study, and I think there's over 250,000 square feet of vacant space throughout the town of Yorktown. And there are plans on the drawing board to add more commercial space. So the question is, do we really need 27,000 square feet more to compete with the existing vacant space that we already have? This also, the question about the uncertainty of what the building will be raises another point. The way the plan is being conceived now, the town staff is going to design this building and do all the plans and then sell an approved plan to a private developer. The question is, why is town staff doing this? Our tax dollars are paying for town staff to do lots of other things for this town. Why are we spending money to do the work for a developer? Having sat at planning board meetings as an observer for many, many years, I know there's a lot of time, a lot of money involved in making these plans. Okay? So I don't think taxpayers should be doing this and paying for that staff time for the benefit of a private developer. There's also the question of, Right now, when a developer submits plans, it's the job of the planning board to review these plans, planning department and planning board. If town staff are doing these plans, then who's going to review their work? Themselves? It just doesn't make sense. The supervisor says that by moving the Parks Garage out of Downing Park, that's going to enhance Downing Park. And his plan is to move the Recreation Department's administrative offices, which are currently in temporary trailers at Sparkle Lake, over to Downing Park. But what he doesn't say is are the administrative offices going to go in this old garage building that the parks staff is vacating? How much will it cost to renovate the existing building? Or if the existing building isn't adequate for the administrative staff, is there a cost to putting up a new building? Again, it sounds very good to enhance Downing Park, but there's no substance. Okay? The savings, the next concern is the savings. We've heard a lot about how the new highway garage and Parks Garage will increase efficiencies. And efficiencies translates into savings. I absolutely agree with that concept. But the problem is there are no numbers to show exactly what the savings will be. Okay? Yes, if we park our cars out, some of the highway department trucks are currently parked inside, some are outside. Chances are they will last longer if they're parked inside. But how much longer, and how will that translate into savings? Okay? And I'm getting a cue that we're going soon, so let me just go further. Tax dollars. The town assessor has estimated that this new commercial building, roughly 27,000 square feet, that we don't know yet what the mix will be, will generate $11,000 to $13,000 a year in tax revenue for the town. If you add up the hypothetical savings from these efficiencies, let's say $13,000 in cost savings, plus the outlay of anywhere up to $1 million for the project that the taxpayers will have to lay out, it could take 100 years for your return on an investment. And the supervisor frequently talks about return on investment. Okay? So the numbers just don't work out. They sound good as a concept, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, they don't work out. Finally, let's talk about revitalization. Again, which the revitalization of the downtown is the core reason why we are doing this project. So I'm asking you, do you think downtown Yorktown Heights needs revitalization? It certainly isn't the most aesthetically pleasing downtown. I will certainly grant you that. But will building one new building in this corner make a difference to all of this? We're certainly not going to tear down everything else and rebuild it. Some of you who have lived here for maybe 50 years remember what Commerce Street used to look like. And here I was able to obtain some photos of the Commerce Street area dating back to the 1960s and 1970s. And much to my surprise, when I moved here in 1970, Yorktown had an urban renewal program. And I think you'll see some of the photos of what Commerce Street. The urban renewal area went from the firehouse down Commerce Street to Underhill Avenue and then down to Front Street, and it encompassed 30 acres, okay? As opposed to that was revitalization. And if you see these pictures, you see what they look like. I can remember the shacks that were replaced by Underhill Plaza, and I can remember the old lumber yard that was where we now have Yorktown Commons and the beautiful railroad station park that we have. That was true revitalization. These are some of the main concerns I have and why I'm doing this program and why I want to give you the information. You can support or oppose the highway garage project, but it should be based on solid information. And that's the purpose of this program. And I have to say that when I tried to put some of this information on the town website the other day, the supervisor denied me access to the website to post this information. Thank you for listening, and please contact me if you have any questions, susan@yorktownny.org or 914-962-5722, extension 421. Thank you, and remember to vote come November 3rd.